Today we are talking about Dadbods. Now let's just clarify what that means. It means people of a certain age, 30s or 40s, a sort of approaching middle age, who have developed something of a doughy abdomen, a slight putting on of weight around the middle area, that most prominently have developed a belly, and that's a bit like these. So we're going to talk about that today, how they are acquired and how they are lost. Okay, so stay tuned, all the answers are in this video. Now before I go any further, I just want to clarify that this is not an attack on guys with dad bods. For the most part, those guys can be completely healthy and they can be completely fine just the way they are. That's fantastic. I salute you guys, I really do. This video is probably not for you. This video is more for the kind of guy who has put on the weight and doesn't really appreciate it, and really wants to get back into shape. So if you're on that side of the coin, rather than the just deal with it and live with it side, then carry on watching. I have personal experience. I've at some point in my past, this was a couple of years ago now, but for one reason or another I'd let myself slip. Over the course of a few months I'd end up in sort of this sort of shape, and from someone who has always looked after themselves, finding themselves in this sort of shape is it's mortifying. And it's terribly embarrassing for me to even have these photos on my computer, to even had to have taken them. It made me sad. It made me, at this point I was so unhappy with myself, I had to do something about it, and over the subsequent months of these photos I slowly clawed it all back, and that's what this is talking about, how you too can go through that period of change, of improvement, of sort of bringing it all back, to sort of, even if it's just bringing it back to a healthy level. It doesn't have to be an aesthetic dream of six-pack and muscles. It can just be a slight reversal of, you know, of health. There are going to be many guys around the world who look at themselves and are massively insecure about what they see. We're talking about the guys who probably won't take their clothes off, you know, they'll turn the lights off in the bedroom, they keep the t-shirts on in the swimming pool. And it just makes me sad that you can be that insecure about your body that you won't even take your shirt off. And I can appreciate this, because there have been times in my life when I've been, you know, a little bit shy, and that being shy is a sign of insecurity, something you have to deal with yourself. Everyone has to deal with that stuff on their own, but doing something pragmatic about it, doing something practical, changing what you are insecure about, goes a long way to getting a resolution out of that. Now let's just clarify what this means. Well, it's a term that's been made popular in recent years to describe men of middle age or approaching middle age that have developed something of a bloated physique, a general doughy abdomen, but most prominently having developed something of a belly. It's not caused by any one thing really, just time, life, and decreasing good habits in both exercise and diet. The term dadbod is actually said as a term of endearment and acceptance, and is by no means limited to just dads. I see a lot of celebrities and people I look up to, people like Jason Momoa, Will Smith, Hugh Jackman, who are all well known for having great fitness physiques in movies, but then go on to embrace their dadbods in between jobs, showing it can be something that can quickly be bounced out of with the right motivation. A movie, for example. If you're one of these guys that just sits back and does nothing, but moans all the time, complains and whinges, blames it on other things, other factors, if you blame the kids for the way you look, if you blame the wife for feeding you the food, then you need to change your mentality. There is only one person that is responsible for the way you look, and that is yourself. You control exactly what you eat. No one controls this gateway other than you, and you are the master of your own destiny when it comes to sort of exercise and diet further on. It is very obtainable to anyone who's prepared to commit to the process, and it is a process. It's quite a timely process as well. You have to be very patient along this road. The way I describe it, certainly if you've been going in one direction for a long time. Say, consider it like a train. A train is a massive, heavy, fast-moving object, right? And it's going this way. In order for you to turn it around and go the other way, it's going to take time to stop. Quite a bit of time. And when it does stop, you've then got to pop it into reverse, and it's got to gain speed the other way. And this train reversal is a nice metaphor for slowing down you gaining weight and getting further out of shape, but then making progress as you get fitter and fitter and fitter. And it does accelerate. Once you start to get fitter, the process does accelerate. So getting through that first little bit of turning the train around is quite important, and it's all up here. You have to be very determined to get through that bit, because you won't necessarily see a great deal of results during that period. You've got to wait until the train is back up to speed. Now guys, this is kind of the serious bit. While I did actually mention that Dadbods can be healthy and you can be happy and live the dream with a Dadbod, there is a flip side to this where you can become quite unhealthy. Just bear in mind that Dadbods might quite possibly be the gateway to becoming overweight to obese, obese to morbidly obese, and should you even get that far, the heavier you become, the chances of getting things like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, various cancers, bowel cancer for example, all the chances of getting all of those things go up considerably. Now these are horrible diseases and they're a horrible way to die. Why would anyone openly invite or increase the chances of getting some of these really nasty bastard diseases? Why? When a person develops a Dadbod, when a person develops a belly, it has some quite damaging effects on the body. Some are irreversible, so bear that in mind when you look down at your innocent little belly. When you start to develop sort of the fat, that little bit of surface skin fat that you can pinch, that's quite harmless. Now, where it gets a little bit more dangerous is the stuff that's inside. As you develop your belly, obviously all of your internal organs push out into that space. Well, it's not really space, but push out into that sort of extension. It pushes your abdominal sac out, it pushes your muscles out, it causes them to thin and spread, causes your skin on the outside to stretch, generating stretch marks. With your muscles having thinned, your chances of getting things like hernias go up quite considerably. And then inside, and the most serious of which, your internal organs start to be surrounded by and padded out by visceral fat. And this is where the real danger to your life starts. So when you look down at your innocent belly, know that inside there, your organs are being surrounded by quite damaging visceral fat. Now guys, I'm not going to bang on the health drum anymore. It's too heavy, and I don't want my videos to be all doom and gloom. I'm not trying to scare anyone into getting fitter or healthier. I kind of want you to have that epiphany all by yourself and do it for much more positive reasons. So that's enough of that. So let's talk about motives outside of health. Right, so don't you want to reach, say, your retirement age? That's a really easy one. Work your entire life and get your pension, something you work every day towards. Now, let's say you get there, don't you want to be fit and healthy enough to enjoy it for as long as possible? Let's say you've got children. I've got children. I want to see them both grow up. I want to see them both get to at least my age and beyond. I want to see them get married, have their own children. I want to see their children grow up. I want to be around for as long as possible to watch my family grow. Right, so what are the factors that cause people to have dad bods in the first place? Well, I see it as 4 main things. I see it as age, genetics, diet and exercise. 2 of these are nature, 2 of these are nurture. The first 2 we can't do anything about. Age, everyone gets older, everyone has to deal with the age they are at that given point in time. Genetics is just a complete mystery box. Everything about you, including all of your health and fitness junk, including the way you're going to die, is all inside this box. But we just have no way of accessing it or knowing what's inside. So, those 2, age and genetics, we can't do anything about. So that leaves diet and exercise. My favourites. I personally believe that health and fitness is the simplest equation in life. Diet plus exercise equals health and fitness. It's as simple as that, but it does need both, almost in equal measure. The majority of people in the world who are overweight do already understand the principles of eating well, and exercising will make them a healthier person. So why are they not doing it? A lot of the time it's the fear of starting and the fear of failing, and you do see a lot of that in the form of when people become overweight, they finally get into a gym, they'll blast it for a couple of weeks, realise it hurts and it's difficult and it's hard work, and then they'll quit. You get a lot of this around New Year's resolutions and things like that. People are put off because when you first start something, that is when it is hardest, that is when it is most scary, that is when it's most difficult. This is the bit that you've got to get through. Everyone's got to get through it, whether it be running. The very first time that you go running, it is going to hurt you in ways that you can't possibly describe. The first time you lift weights, the next couple of days are going to be agony because your muscles are just not used to it. But over time, and we're not talking huge amounts of time, we're talking a few weeks, your body will start to adapt, the pain will get less each time, and the exercises will become easier. Your bodies are going to be different to, say, when you were in your 20s. A guy in his 40s who is out of shape, your body is going to be terribly inefficient, and it's going to take a bit of hard work to get it back to that efficiency point. Now when you go into a gym, and say if you've not been in a gym for a long time, or if you've never been in a gym, there will be personal trainers offering their services. These are often young guys or young girls. In fact, you very, very rarely see any 40-year-old personal trainers. I'm sure there are some, but I have never seen any. In all the gyms I've been to, in all the time, I've never seen any guys in their 40s. You would think the best experience, the best knowledge would come from someone who has lived it. Training and diet can be made massively complicated by those wishing to sell you advice. But why? It's pretty much so you think it's all rocket science. It's to bamboozle you with so much information you can't possibly perceive how anyone would ever get in shape without the guidance of a personal trainer. So, in addition to personal trainers wanting to get your money for their services, what you may be tempted to do is to lean towards weight loss clubs. The problem with weight loss clubs is that they are a business at the end of the day. A very clever business. Let me explain. You are an overweight person, or just a person with a dad bod, and you want to drop a few pounds. So you enter. You pay your subscription, and they introduce you to a mechanism, a system for eating. Whether it be points, whether it be categorization, it can be done any number of ways, but they introduce you to it. And you subscribe to that, you buy into that system. So your entire eating, therefore after, is that. And as you go through, you will inevitably lose weight, because at the end of the day, all that system is is a dressed up version of lowering your calories, probably to calorie deficit territory. So you go along and then you hit your first milestone, your first award. You'll get a certificate or a badge or a pin, and you are suddenly really motivated to continue. So you continue to buy into that system, and you get another certificate, another pin, another badge, and then eventually you will hit your target weight. You will cross the finish line. It's normally sweetened by giving you a free membership. But because you've finished, because you've crossed that line, because you are now at your thinnest, you think that you can just eat like everybody else. But these clubs fail to instill the importance of exercise. So when you are spat out at the other end, your muscle mass is almost non-existent. So your metabolism reflects that. So when you're spat out, you may be thin, you may have eaten yourself thin, but with a really sensitive metabolism, you're only ever 3 slices of cake from going back to the start. And when you go back to the start, you have to be a money-paying member again. And the guys at the top of this franchise pyramid are rubbing their fingers together as they get their Christmas bonus in. Now, having said all of that about weight loss groups and personal trainers, it's important to say that if you can find a weight loss group that embraces exercise, both weight training and cardio, they understand that spitting out a person with a healthy metabolism at the end is important as just losing weight, or a personal trainer that understands the difference between training a 20-year-old and a 40-year-old. They are out there. There are good ones and there are bad ones. So if you can find those, they would be a good asset to you and a good way for you to move forward. Where to start though? If you are doing nothing at this point in time, where do you begin? For me, this would be diet. The first thing I would do is to go into my kitchen and do a bit of an inventory. I would say 3 days from now, I want to be rid of all the cake and chocolate and crisps, fizzy drinks, literally everything that's sugary or fatty. Just get rid of the lot. Go to the shops and replace it with obvious replacements that are much healthier. Common sense replacements. If you want to go one step further though, make a list of all your meals for a week, healthy meals. Figure out what is required for the ingredients, create a list of all of those and just buy those at your next shop. This way that you will only ensure that you'll buy stuff for the meals that you're going to eat, the healthy meals. It also means that there will be less waste, less temptation. Replace all your dairy with lower fat or fat-free equivalents. It is a no-brainer and it is so simple to do. All these products are right next to the full fat equivalents. We're talking milk, cheese, yogurt, butter. Literally right next door, just take the other one. Simple. All of your highly processed white products, just replace them with wholemeal or brown equivalents. They're a lot more nutritious, full of fibre, a lot better for you. Simple. When you start to exercise, your muscles are going to hurt, and that is because they need to be repaired. When that happens, you're going to need to increase the amount of protein that you consume. You're obviously going to need to keep this lean, else you're just going to be compounding the problem. It's about 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. Sort of a good place to start for how much protein to take. That means you're going to have to check on the backs of products to see how much you're taking in each day. If you're falling short, you can always take things like protein shakes. So we've talked about diet. On the other side of the equation is exercise. Exercise can be categorized into 2 main categories: cardio and weight training. Nearly all exercise can go into one or the other of these. I recommend you do both all of the time. Why? A healthy body, an all-round healthy body, needs to have a strong heart as well as a strong body. One cannot operate really without the other. You might find that you are told that cardio isn't required or that weight training isn't required, but I'm a firm believer that doing both is important. If you only did weight training, and you are often told this, I often hear this, that you don't need to do cardio to be muscly and to be lean. And that is true. There are ways of training that can get you lean without doing extensive cardio. But it will result in you being quite unfit overall. You won't be able to go up and down the stairs without a breath. You are not going to be able to run a 5k. You are going to have the approximate fitness as an obese person. Similarly, if the cardio crowd don't lift any weights, they will find their physiques will get very, very skinny, very, very thin. Certainly up top. Over time, their bodies will get used to this. Their muscle mass will reduce considerably. And if they ever stopped cardio, their body's metabolism would be quite inefficient and they would be susceptible to put on weight quite quickly after that. So it's important to have a balance of both. In an ideal world, exercising for at least 30 minutes to an hour every day would be where you'd want to be. However, we're all busy people, we're all busy lives, so figuring out a compromise. Now, a good starting point, I believe, would be to do 2 sessions of both in a week. So that's 4 out of 7 days. 2 of cardio, 2 of weights. Divvy that up into the week however you like, but try to get somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour's worth into each of those sessions. I'm not going to get too deep into the exercise component today. It is a topic as broad as it is long. There are a million permutations of how to do it, and there's so much mixed opinion out there as to what is good and bad and what is right and wrong, and I don't really want to get into that. There's plenty of other videos for that. So let's recap real quick. Number 1, clean up your diet. This is a really, really simple one. Number 2, make proactive choices when shopping for food. Fill up your kitchen with healthy foods. Simple. 3, stay in calorie deficit. This is a really big one. It just ensures that you are burning fat off your body rather than just burning the energy from your donut. Number 4, exercise both cardio and weights. Like I previously mentioned, both are really important. 5, consistency. Make sure that you link your weekdays together with having a good weekend. Your body doesn't know what day it is, so you need to eat well and exercise well on the weekends as well as the weeks. The more you can link together, the better the result. And 6, don't be expecting results straight away. I often say to people, it takes 6 weeks to see the start of results and 6 months to see them mature. Okay guys, we're nearly at the end. Thank you for watching this far, thank you for watching my other videos, and thank you for any future videos you're going to watch. I know this subject is a bit of a delicate one. If there's any people that have already been through this process, have already gone from Dadbod to less Dadbod, I'd love to hear about you down in the comments down below. If you want to tell me about anything I might not have talked about in this particular video, also let me know in the comments. If you're just passing through the channel or if you're just watching this video, please give my channel a subscribe. Super important, helps us small channels get off the ground. And if there's anything else you'd like to talk to me about or me to talk about in future videos, please let me know and I will get it done. Thank you for watching. Mart out.